I'm Gemma Charles, the Deputy Editor of Marketing Magazine. I'm here with Jonathan Mildenhall, the CMO of Airbnb. Welcome, Jonathan.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be here.
Excellent, excellent. Now, so you've been coming to Cannes for quite a few years, and you've done that both as ad man and as client. I mean, how have you sort of evolved as a marketing professional over those years, and what have you thought about Cannes and how it's changed as well?
Well, I've been coming to Cannes now for 19 years. I haven't missed a year except for last year, which was the first year off because I just moved to San Francisco to take up the role at Airbnb. It's really been a phenomenal transformation at Cannes. It's always been about celebrating the work, but really 20 years ago it was just the creatives who hung out at Cannes. And then the creatives started to attract clients, and clients started to attract media audiences. The media companies then started to attract the tech companies, and now the investors are heavily present in Cannes. But it's still all about the work, and what I love about Cannes is it's just a fantastic opportunity to meet a lot of interesting people. Some of my relationships are only ever met face to face in Cannes, so I do big business with people all over the world, but I might only actually meet them once a year, and that's when we're here in Cannes. But the purpose of coming to Cannes is to really fill my creative cup, and 1 week in Cannes can stimulate me for the next 51 weeks.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And you've also given I think you've given 1 or 2 talks this week. And you had I think you were saying some interesting things about moving from Coke, this kind of big creative company, to Airbnb, which is smaller but agile and nimble. And if you could just tell us a bit more about the differences that you've experienced going from one to the other, that would be great as well.
Coke is an amazing marketing company and has built some really, really powerful brands. And what I love about what Coca-Cola does is it gives a lot of thought leadership to the industry each and every year that Coke is present at Cannes. But for me, the shift to a small tech-based entrepreneurial startup has been incredibly enlightening. I probably do in the average month what it would take me to do a year to do at Coke, because I don't actually spend any time selling work to the internal stakeholders at Airbnb, whereas at Coke I'd spend a lot of time kind of aligning with markets and selling work to markets, etc.
That sounds almost frustrating, or how would you categorise that?
I guess there's a lot of organizational interference that gets in the way of doing great kind of creativity, which I don't have at Airbnb. But at the same time, I actually don't have much of an internal organization at Airbnb. And so my job is to try and build a 21st century marketing organization and put in the right systems and processes that I want to see will actually liberate creative work and do nothing to slow down the pace in which we can conceive an idea anywhere in the world at Airbnb and then scale that all over the world. Mm-hmm. But creativity is still the primary currency at Airbnb, which is the same for Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And while we're on creativity, just tell me about one of your creative highlights this year.
Well, without question, it would be Airbnb's first TV campaign. And so we did this TV campaign called Never a Stranger. And what's beautiful about that is it confronts an uncomfortable truth head on. The first time anybody hears about Airbnb, they go, what, you'd let strangers into your home, or you'd go and stay with strangers? I mean, to be honest, it's quite a weird proposition because people are taught to distrust people that they don't know. And so this campaign starts with an uncomfortable truth because it's about this single white woman who's traveling around the world on her own. And through this journey of staying in Airbnb, she meets some really, really interesting people. But the opening line is, "Dear stranger, when I first booked this trip, my friends thought I was crazy. Why would you stay in somebody else's house?" So I'm very proud that we put the uncomfortable truth front and center of Airbnb's first ever multinational TV campaign.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you.